Hey everybody, welcome back to another review of Dragon Ball Super episodes. Now, it's been a couple weeks, and I've kind of just resigned to doing Dragon Ball Super 2 episodes at a time, mostly because I don't have enough to say about any one particular episode, so talking about at least 2 chunks makes it a little bit easier to get the plot details and everything, and make it a little bit longer of a video than just something that's about 5 minutes summary. So, this time we're talking about episodes 53 and 54. Now, this is where we're moving more and more along the mystery of what's going on with Goku Black and how we're going to stop him. In the previous set of 2 episodes, we had Goku go with Beerus and Whis to fly off to Universe 10 because there's a person there that has an energy that's somewhat similar to Goku Black. And so Episode 53 picks up right from there, and we have Goku go to Universe 10 on the world of the Kais, and we meet Xanos, who's basically a Kai in training, and Goku fights him, and we discover that his energy is very, very similar to Goku Black, but not quite as evil. And we find out that they've got Rings of Time there, but none of them have moved for a while, and that Xanos is very... He doesn't really like humanity. He's got very much a problem with the constant wars and the perpetuated struggles and stuff like we talked about in the previous set of episodes. And what he's saying lines up very much with what Goku Black's all about, so we can basically just assume at this point that they are one and the same. And he's also different in that he's a fighting prodigy, and he does not very much like the other peaceful Kais that we typically see. Now, there's a little bit about what Kais do for the universe talked about in this episode, and Dragon Ball Super has this issue of just creating things retroactively and acting like they've always been that way. The way the Kai, or at least the way the Kai that's teaching Xanos talks about them, and maybe it's different because it's a different universe, but the way that Kai talks about his job is basically guiding humanity into betterment. But if you look at the way Kais cooperate with people from Earth in our regular Universe 7 from Dragon Ball Z, it doesn't really feel like that. It feels more like Kais are there as part of the bureaucracy that's established in the Dragon Ball universe's afterlife. Like, they're just part of that system, and great heroes go to them after they die, or they're there to, like, protect the universe as a whole from more cosmic threats, that they're more like, almost like Marvel Comics watchers, and they interact every now and then. They sealed up Bojack, the Supreme Kai, and his people fought off Babidi and Majin Buu. They're very much more about, like, protection as a whole, as opposed to, like, being any sort of, like, actual gods making humanity better or guiding them in any way. And then the word humanity has a bit of an issue here, because in the Japanese it's ningen, which means both mortals and humanity and a couple other things. Like, it's very much, it's an all-inclusive term, but it's always translated as humanity. And Dragon Ball has always been kind of fun with language. Like, Goku is supposed to be a character that's kind of just like a moron. Like, he's supposed to be uneducated, mountain-dwelling country kind of kid. There's a running gag throughout the series about, like, when the number 10 comes up, he's mispronouncing how to say, like, 10 times Kamehameha. Like, it's very much making fun and using awkward language throughout, but when a Kai says ningen and we keep translating it as humanity, you keep wanting to think of, like, the Kais in relation to planet Earth, when they're more about, like, the universe as a whole. So the wording is just awkward, and I guess the derived meaning is that Xanos doesn't like mortals. He thinks mortals are the problem, which is understandable and interesting, but we still haven't done too much with that in episode 53. We'll talk more about it with episode 54. But Goku fights him, and Goku pretty much dominates, and it's a pretty interesting fight. It's pretty fun to see, like, the different battle styles that Goku has versus Xanos, and then comparing that to Goku Black, and then tying that back to the idea that Goku Black has to fight in Goku style because that's what's most natural to that body. Which is interesting, and the movements are very similar to what Goku Black was doing, but maybe, again, mimicking Goku, he's able to get better. which is interesting. And then while all that's going on, we go back to episode 54 where Goku's come back after meeting Xanos, and they know that there's something off about him, even though he's not entirely sure that they're that's Goku Black yet. And we have Trunks learn that Goku has gone head-to-head with Beerus, who's a god of destruction, and that the power gap between Vegeta and Goku and Trunks is just massive. The Trunks is nowhere near their league. So Trunks kind of gives up in his mind a little bit, and Vegeta says, okay, I'll train you. And so Vegeta starts training him, and he turns Super Saiyan Blue, and there's actually a really cool conversation where Trunks powers up to Super Saiyan 2, and then he tells Vegeta to go to Super Saiyan 3, and then Vegeta just starts cracking up and just goes Super Saiyan Blue and blows him out of the water, which is really interesting. And Vegeta, much like in Dragon Ball Z, says to Trunks, okay, you win if you can land one punch on me, just like when we first met Kid Trunks, which is fun. And you get to see very much the difference between the Vegeta that future Trunks met in the Android saga versus the Vegeta he's meeting right now, and how far along that character's become, and how like his Saiyan pride and his sense of fatherhood have sort of like tied together now and sort of mellowed him out. And so he has this conversation with Trunks where Trunks basically like, between Goku and Vegeta at Super Saiyan Blue, they don't need him to stop Goku Black. And so he just kind of like gives up, and Vegeta says, no, it is in your blood to constantly want to get stronger, and if you don't, you're not worthy of calling yourself a Saiyan and inheriting Saiyan blood. And Trunks kind of understands that finally, and when after Vegeta powers down, he just like headbutts him when he's off guard, and then resolves that he's going to surpass both Goku Black and Vegeta, which is a nice moment. Probably never going to happen, though. I don't see any way a future Trunks is going to get anywhere near that strong in that short amount of time, but whatever. It's a nice moment, though. It's a good, nice father-son moment. There was, at the start of that fight between Vegeta and future Trunks, there's a cool thing where Vegeta goes Super Saiyan Blue and Trunks goes Super Saiyan 2, and right as the battle is about to kick off, Trunks goes to that like super bulky Super Saiyan 3rd grade mode where it's just like his hair is wild all over the place, he's like massively sized, like he was in the fight against Perfect Cell for the first time, and we figured out that weakness of like you can keep bulking up your muscle mass, but you're going too slow. And Vegeta thinks he's a moron for doing that, and he thinks he's learned nothing, so Vegeta flies in and ready to attack him, and then really quickly, in a split second, Trunks turns that mode off, goes back to his regular Super Saiyan 2 mode, and dodges Vegeta's attack and knocks him off guard. It's really cool. It's a nice technique. And that's basically what happens in both of these episodes. And at the end of it, we find out that the Omni King wants to speak to Goku, and that's what we're going to take off with the next episode. So far, this is really interesting. I like how much time we're taking with Trunks in a more tranquil, present-day setting. It's really interesting to see Trunks interact with everyone else and kind of like get rid of the stress of the future he came away from, and like he's changed his clothes, he's more relaxed, he's like seeing a world he's never really been used to. And if you contrast that with History of Trunks, it's really nice to see like how much that guy has grown. Like the idea that you see the first time you see Trunks in History of Trunks, he's a baby crying the day Goku died. And now he's back and he's resolving to take on the form of Super Saiyan Blue and stuff, and he's in a world that's very much evolved in a different way. It's really interesting, and I really like where a lot of that is going for him on a character place, and it feels like Goku Black as a major threat is not so much for a Goku and Vegeta battle as much as it's for a way to further progress future Trunks' character, which I really like. There's stuff here about Goku Black and Xanos that's interesting. We get a bit of a subplot on the side of episode 54 where Xanos' master takes him to a planet where people just like barbarically fight all day, and then he uses the Rings of Time. He says, okay, the rings can only take you to the future, it can't help you go back and alter the past, which is why Goku Black was able to go through the dimensional hole created by Trunks' time machine, but then immediately sucked back. So they use the rings, they go 1,000 years into the future, and the people on that planet are still exactly the same, bickering, beating the crap out of each other. And from there, Xanos has more of a distinct hatred for mortality on the whole, where he doesn't think they're going to get better, he doesn't think they're going to improve, and the constant back and forth of fighting is just not worth the effort to protect them. And I like the progression from Battle of Gods to Resurrection F to this because it more and more is a deconstruction of the problems of being a Saiyan and their nature. Battle of Gods is all about Saiyan pride. Resurrection F is all about is again more about pride, but as opposed to looking at the positives like Battle of Gods did, why pride is something that Saiyans have and makes them stronger. On the other side, we see with Resurrection F why pride is a detriment and why someone like Frieza's, who is ridiculously proud, creates his own downfall. And then here we go back to the stuff with Future Trunks in this arc, and we're deconstructing this need to fight, that the Saiyans have this uncontrollable urge for battle and to get stronger, and how much is that for a more personal growth versus just being barbarians. And I really like that contrast. I hope we do more with it as this arc continues. This is good. It's still a little slow going. I just don't care about the stuff with Mai having a crush on Trunks and Pilaf's little gang. I just don't care about that. I wish we'd just skip all that. For the most part, though, I think this is going somewhere interesting. And I don't know how many episodes there are going to be in this particular arc. I feel like this should, again, be something that is more of a saga, that it should go for a good while and help, and maybe like stick in the status quo of Trunks in the present and then maybe the Z Fighters in the future for a while. But we'll see. It feels like it's kind of coming to a head pretty soon, and we're just going ahead and explaining some of this. But I really like this. I thought this was really interesting. Let me know what you think in the comments, whether you agree or disagree with anything I said. Until then, I'll see you next time. I'll talk about the next set of 2 episodes in 2 weeks, because that just makes this a little bit easier. Thanks everybody for watching, and I'll see you next time.